break? Like, did you try to practice extra, or did you still like hard set, like, okay, we're gonna take a month off to not do anything? What have you been up to?
So I personally, I think most of it came down to individual decisions because we weren't practicing at all during the TI period leading up to TI, as well as directly after it. And you never really know what was going to happen if there was any shuffle. Like, no, not everyone was 100% certain until after TI, and then afterwards we were, we re-signed with Tundra, and everyone had full confidence that this is what's going to happen for this season, and we move forward from there. And during the break, leading up to TI and afterwards, people were just kind of playing on their own pace, but majority of us just ended up grinding daily anyways, as if we're practicing for TI, except without the scrims, obviously, because why would you scrim when there's nothing to be playing for in the next couple months anyways? But we were still training very hard and diligently.
And I've noticed in terms of background, some of the guys are at bootcamp. Are you also there? Because you're the one with the white bootcamp background rather than color. So I was wondering if you're with the squad at the moment.
Yeah, we are together, but we're kind of separated a little bit to space out a little bit more so that, to prevent possibly catching the deadly disease that should not be named.
Fair enough. You also got AY joining you guys, the old teammate back on the squad. How's that for you?
AY actually worked with us last season, surprisingly, and he worked with us towards the second DPC season. It was a little bit on and off. He wasn't fully committed because he had other obligations casting at the time, so he was only part-time coaching us. But we're very experienced with working with AI, and he understands our dynamic very well. So we're like a very well-oiled machine that he helps us to figure out some kinks that we have along the ways, and things are going very well.
Glad to hear it. I'm here with Effie and SVG, and they would also like to ask you some questions.
Yeah, so I'm pretty curious, actually. There were so many changes in rosters for big teams this season, and I was wondering which of these teams are you most afraid of, or who do you think is going to be the most threatening?
I think obviously, if are you talking about on a global scale or just in a Western Europe DPC season?
Western Europe season.
Okay, so I think for the most part, I think Secret is always a force to be reckoned with. Especially they have a lot of talented all-star players, and with Smell and Puppy, and everyone else is also top-notch players. So I think Secret is always the top contender. And then the other teams, I think the rosters, or I'm not too sure. I think they might have some really good potential. We'll just have to wait and see.
And do you think this system of kind of resetting your entire roster is similar to what OG did? Do you think that's effective, or do you think there's a lot to be lost with something like that?
I think there's a lot to be lost, to be honest. I think you're pretty much taking in 5 new players who've never played together before, and some of which don't even have competitive experience, and you're kind of just throwing them all together. And like, you might get lucky and the chemistry just works out and everything just clicks, and that's how you get like a TI winning roster. But the chances of that are rather low. Generally, in order to have a good team chemistry and team, it'll take some time and it'll take some experienced players. So I'm not too sure how OG is going to do this season, but I think people should not have too high expectations of them because they are coming in as a fresh new team.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Hey Sney, it's been a while, my friend, since
hello,
EGJ basement days, but glad to see you having found a place on a team that looks like is a very good fit for you. And following up on that, I'm curious if you feel like you playing 4 is a very different transition to when you used to play 3. Because from my point of view, you as a 3 player where you were a big shot caller, you were a big driver of where to go on the map, where you want to play on the map, these types of movements and calls. For example, this last game, you're setting up for kills in top lane with this chrono, your ult, stuff like this. Are you still taking on that shot caller, dominating the game map, that type of thing? Or are you playing the more, just mechanical 4 player, trying to follow up on what other people want to do?
I think it depends on the situation of the game, but in these past 2 games, Snapfire is one of my more comfortable heroes, and I was definitely able to shot call very well and lead the pace of the game because I was a very strong Snapfire with early kills, early levels. So I was level 6, I think around at 750, which is very fast for support and I knew that I would be able to get a lot of kills and surprise enemies who are a little bit caught off guard of how much damage I can output. And once we started to get the early ball rolling, getting the early kills, like the pressure just never stopped. Then now suddenly my Doom is fat, my Earth Spear is fat, all my cores are fat, and the game just becomes increasingly difficult once I get the early tempo started for our team.
Is that how you prefer to play games, or is that just kind of something, if it happens, you're going to flow with it? If it doesn't happen, you guys are chill too? Or do you go in a game, we want to be able to drive the tempo, we want to be able to set the game up in that type of fashion?
I think you always want to be the team that is dictating the tempo and leading the nose of the enemy team on, but not every game you're going to be able to win your lanes and snowball or have the right conditions to do that. In the event that doesn't happen, sometimes you just have to chill and wait for the enemy to make a mistake, or just farm for your timing and just kind of wait for the right opportunity to come. But of course, if you have the advantage, you want to be able to press the attack and make the small advantage into a bigger advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question for you, Sney, and I think you kind of know that this question was coming because you guys played the same draft twice in a row. Doesn't happen very often that you get away with it and also win with it twice in a row. Was that planned? Was that just happenstance? Like, how did that came together?
For the most part, you can't really plan the second phase of Dota because there's a lot of bans and a lot of variants that could happen. But we generally plan for the first phase, and we were comfortable playing the same opener twice. So then everything kind of just fell into place, and they kind of did a very similar draft. So like our response is like, no, why try to fix something that's not broke already? So we just ran it back, and it worked very well.
It did indeed. It did indeed. You guys had a great opening series here in the upper division. I want to thank you for being open with us and for taking the time to talk to us. And wish you good luck in the next series.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Bye, guys.
Thank you. And indeed, I mean, Tundra, we know that they're coming in as one of the hotter teams. We've seen them in the run-up towards TI as one of the